Hello, hello everyone! Welcome back. It's another Friday, which means it's another Friday with Dannphan. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday so far and a fantastic week. Finally getting some warm weather over here, perhaps maybe even a little bit too warm. So, there's some interesting stuff that we can talk about for this stream. Let's see. Should I talk about channel stuff first? I don't know. I feel like maybe I should save talking about channel stuff sometimes because people don't pop in right away, you know? Well, I'll tell you what I did this morning. I watched a Christian anime movie. That was interesting. Not too many of those. Let me tell you that much. Not too many, pro-Christian anime anything out there, but when you do find them, it's kind of unique and interesting to see, okay, well, what does this look like in Japan? What do they see as being like a pro-Christian message? Because we definitely know what it looks like in America. We have like a lot of Christian media. Some of it, I guess most of it, is known for being like extremely corny and maybe not very good, while as others are known as being like cult classics, you know, the exact opposite. But it was interesting seeing this movie. It's called The Colors Within. It's a couple years old, but it's not so old that it's ancient, right? I think it was like 2024 anime movie. I randomly came across it on YouTube, on just a YouTube short recommending it. It's about like three friends who start a Christian rock band. It's interesting, right? They're the main character goes to a Catholic school. And they do actually weave in like Christianity into the main plot, so it does matter. It's not as though it's just in the background or anything. It's very present, which you don't really see that a lot in anime unless they're trying to critique, you know, the church or organized religion as a whole. So it was interesting just seeing that perspective. Not a bad movie. The animation studio is quite good. They've put out a lot of really good material. I think, yeah, they're the same people who the animation studio, that is, are the same people who are currently working on the new Ghost in the Shell remake. And I think they also did the Sanda anime, which I never finished, otherwise I would have reviewed it. Maybe I'll finish it this year and I'll review it for Christmas. But yes, you can kind of see that they were trying to experiment a little bit with this movie and make it a little stylish. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's like, it's a little bit too stylish. Maybe turn down the saturation a little bit, guys. Yeah, overall the movie was good. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. It was a perfectly wholesome story. I think my only real complaint is that it was a little bit bland, you know? There's a lot of empty space. It's very slow. It's a slow burner story, and yeah, they don't really hype up the drama that much. Since they're in a Christian rock band, there's music that they play, and the music is good, and I like the music. But you don't get to really like hear the full songs until all the way at the end of the movie, and then you hear them all in sequence, and then that's it. And I'm just feeling like, man, we could have had a little bit more music in this anime movie about making music, you know? Maybe I'm a little bit greedy when it comes to these different anime movies and shows that I've been watching, but I'm feeling like I want more from a lot of the stuff that I watch sometimes. I would compare the pacing to like this other romance movie that I watched that was like, God, It's connected to the show. So really I shouldn't have watched it at all because I never watched the show. But it's, what is it, Tomako Love Story or something? Tomoko. Man, I shouldn't have watched that movie because I had no context behind any of those characters, but that was a very slow burn movie as well. But I would argue that more stuff happened maybe in that movie than in this one. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe it's about the same. But yeah. Sanda is also a very stylish anime. It looks visually very neat. But the writing, I had difficulty getting past the characters. I didn't find like one of the main characters in particular to be very likable. And you know, maybe I'm just quick to judge, but I'm also in the mindset of, oh, well, I don't want to waste my time on something when I could be enjoying something else much more. So yeah. Let's see, I believe I've heard of that anime. I seen it got backlash from critics proclaiming keep religion out of my anime. Oh man. That's really weird. That's really weird. It's not even political, honestly. It's just Christian anime. I mean, there are Japanese Christians there. Even though they are, like, you know, a small percentage of Japan, they do exist. They can have their own Christian media. I don't see any issue with that. But yeah, that's rich given those same people defend cringe politics in literally every other form of media. Yeah. Well, you certainly can't get away from politics in a lot of media. Even in anime, there's just plenty of politics woven in there. Plenty of church bad themes woven into anime. I was actually watching this one video that kind of talks about that. It was a pretty good video overall. Maybe I can find the guy so that I can properly credit this person who made this video. I remember what it was called. It was called Anime Has a Church Problem. Piercing Heaven, that's the YouTuber. Yes. So he's Catholic, and he makes reviews and videos about anime. And one of the videos that he made was Anime Has a Church Problem. And he talks a little bit about, like, why in so many different anime shows and movies they always depict the church as being somewhat Catholic, you know, coded Catholic, coded Christian, and why it's always portrayed as being villainous or bad. And overall his breakdown is like pretty decent. He mentioned some things that I didn't even know about. I do think maybe he glossed over other things though, like his summary of how Christianity came to Japan, it was maybe left a lot open for interpretation. I think he just summarized it as, oh, these like Europeans came to Japan to spread Christianity, and Japan didn't like that. And it's not really that. It's not really that simple. It's a little bit more complicated than that. It wasn't just like, oh, Japan didn't like that. I mean, they actually did successfully convert a lot of Japanese to Christianity during this one time period. But then, like, you know, Taoism takes over, and then you're not allowed to be Christian anymore, and so they were persecuted and forced to unconvert, right? Convert to Taoism, right? So he glossed over that part, but that's, it's whatever. The main points he makes, he still gets across pretty well. Let's see. Also, if they complain about Christian themes, I bet they don't complain about Shinto elements seen in some anime. Oh yeah. Let's see. I recall the all the English VA drama from a couple years ago too. So if you don't have politics, you'll see drama. Yeah. It's because it's Christianity. There's countless amounts of anime where there's Buddhism and Shintoism shown in a positive and negative light. True, true. Yeah, in general, I think there's, generalizing. In Japan, I think there's this overall mindset where you think any kind of organized religion is equivalent to that of a cult, and that it will hold you back from reaching your true potential. Whereas a lot of people who are Christians do not have that mindset at all. So there's this kind of disconnect with how they see things. I remember they preferred Protestant Europeans who sold them guns as opposed to the Catholics who just wanted to evangelize. It could be getting mixed up on the sex. I don't know about that. I've not heard. But yeah, overall, anyway, that was a pretty decent movie. I just feel like we could have used a little bit more story, perhaps, and maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe I have a little bit too much of a ADHD brain nowadays, but I feel like I could have used a little more from the movie. But it's not a bad movie. It's fine. And yeah, it's interesting to see like the Japanese Christian perspective being represented in that way. I know other Christians who are huge weebs who love anime and would prefer to watch more anime that isn't anti-God. So I'm always kind of looking out for titles like those that I can recommend to other Christians who like anime. So I guess I would recommend that one, but my only like asterisk next to the colors within is that yes, it is pro-Christian. It is very pro-Christian, but yes, it is also very slow, and you know, maybe not as exciting or high energy as other anime movies out there. I don't think it'll change the world or anything, but it was a nice watch. Let's see. Yeah, Japan in general has a lot of cults, for sure. That's like it's a whole other problem. And to some extent, there's some blame to be held towards Protestantism to that because of the schisms, right? Because there are so many different sects of Christianity, there are cults that will say that they're Christian, but, you know, like, we believe all of this part of the Bible, but we're gonna add in this part over here that says you're not allowed to talk to your family anymore, and you have to kill yourself in the name of, you know, whatever. You know how cults, like, just, you know, they start you off on something that you can agree on, and then they escalate it to all the other stuff that they want you to do. But, yeah. It's kind of the issue that you run into. Since it's a Science Saru production, it's bound to be decent. Yeah, I don't know how many... I've seen a lot more of the Science Saru animation stuff popping up. I don't know what more of their earlier stuff looked like, though. Because, I mean, now they're more relevant than ever, because they've been coming out with, like, a bunch of different things. It looks like they've been at it since 2014, though. Interesting. So The Colors Within was the last movie that this animation studio worked on, and then they were transitioning to doing more animated series. So I guess part of the reason why I know about their existence is because they were working on so many of these big name anime series like Dan and Ghost in the Shell and Sanda. Granted, I've never heard of Sanda until the anime trailer dropped, but oh, I didn't know that they worked on the Heike story or the Heike story. I remember seeing trailers for that too. I just didn't know that they worked on it. They did Devilman Crybaby. That's right. I didn't watch all of that. I'll be brutally honest, I didn't watch all of Devilman Crybaby on Netflix. I know people liked it, but I was kind of indifferent to it. They did some work for Cartoon Network, which is interesting. Their work does kind of strike me as something a little bit more cartoonish. A little bit more Cartoon Network-ified. Now that I see these credits, it makes a little bit more sense. So one of the first animated series that they worked on was Adventure Time Food Chain for Cartoon Network. Bet you weren't expecting that one, guys, huh? They also worked on OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. Ew. I wouldn't want that on my credits, but yeah, that's fine. It was a promotional episodes, whatever that means. Promotional episodes. So I guess they just helped with the animation. They didn't actually like. Yeah, I don't know. I never liked the look of OKKO. I always thought it was really weird and lazy looking. That's my preference. I know. My hot takes. I didn't think that OKKO looked very good. But, yeah. You guys hear about this is a big story that's been blowing up on YouTube with the bricks and minifigs situation. There's like a lawsuit going on between this one branch of I think it's like the branch of the franchise, and then a YouTuber who was basically exposing them for I mean, there are other scenarios where this has happened. So the story is, right, I'll give you the rundown, the recap for those of you who haven't heard about the bricks and minifigs situation. It's an interesting one. You'll like this. Okay. So this old man is selling I think it was the world record largest Star Wars Lego collection. They're worth a lot of money, right? And they take it to this store. They signed a contract with the store, Bricks and Minifigs, so that they would sell it on consignment. So what that means is you still own the stuff, but you're going through like this. You're having the store sell it for you for a commission. And if they don't sell the stuff, then you can just pick up your stuff and get it back. But the issue is the old owner, for whatever reason, they had the store seized from them for the official franchise or something like that. There's some shadiness to that as well, because the original store owner says that they didn't do that the proper way. But yeah. So new owners take over. They naturally, like the old man wants their Legos back because they're still at the store, and they won't give them the Legos back. Instead, they keep on selling them at the store, and they keep the money. They won't pay them. So that's theft, right? because he still technically owns the Legos. Just because he leaves it at the store doesn't mean it automatically becomes theirs. He had a contract signed with the original store owner. He has like all this evidence that the store owners said that they would take over the contract and honor it, but they didn't. And so, yeah, that's essentially the gist of it. And it blew up into something so much bigger than what was the original problem. Because originally the YouTubers were just trying to do like funny things, kind of memey things to get them to give back the Legos to the owner. And then their reaction, of course, was just constantly calling the police and trying to get them arrested and lying about them in order to get them arrested. Now it's all public. Everyone sees this. And there's this big lawsuit between them both. It was his son who sold because his dad had a health scare, and his dad doesn't do his stress. And his dad doesn't for his stress. Yeah. Right. But yeah, I don't know. At first, they were saying, oh, he's lying, they're not his Legos, and, you know, the story just keeps on changing from their side. Where all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, they are his Legos, but they're not his anymore because the contract that he signed with the previous owner was not allowed. It wasn't legal under our store policy, so therefore we get to keep them. It's not how that works. Even if the contract was not allowed under their store policy, that would just mean that they would have to give them back. You're not allowed to just... I don't know how you reach the conclusion that you get to steal them, because it makes no sense. They really don't have much of a case. The only thing that they can do to defend themselves is use the fact that the YouTuber in question, Reckless Ben, I think the YouTuber name was, he did a lot of, like, weird, memey and funny stuff that they could portray as being harassment, and in some cases portray as being fraud, right? So they're going to try to, like, I guess, gaslight the judge to be like, hey, don't pay attention to that stuff over there that we did that wasn't good. Just pay attention to all the mean stuff that he did to us. Because that was pretty mean when he showed up at our store multiple times asking for the Legos and making jokes, you know? There is this one thing that is maybe not so good, because mostly what he did was not illegal. Most of what he did, anyway. You could argue maybe some parts could be interpreted as fraud, but the one thing that they might have him on or get him fined for is that he was recording their audio without permission. And it's Oregon, I think, in the state of Oregon, you're apparently not allowed to do that. You have to have pre-consent before recording audio of people. You can't, like, do it in secret or anything. And then just recently with the whole police footage that was released, that's a whole other thing, because he claims that a hacker got a hold of that. Oh man. I don't know what's legally binding with any of that evidence. I don't know if you can submit what was obtained by a hacker. I don't think you can, but We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. It certainly does not look good for bricks and minifigs. I think they're kind of doomed. Even if they win the lawsuit, they're doomed. They will never recover from this controversy. Ever. This is as bad as it gets for them. They might as well completely shut down and, I guess, try to rebuild on a different name. Pretend that we never started a Lego company before. This is our first time, we swear. Start a Lego company in Mexico. Just... 'cause... oh man, it blew up so much. And here's the thing, I am more inclined to believe that the situation was authentic, not only because of how much evidence they have against bricks and minifigs in regards to them taking the Legos without compensating, but we've also had, me and Adam have had the same thing happen to us when it comes to our books in comic book shops, or other book shops for that matter. Where, well, we had our books at this one store, right? And we had them on consignment, which is fairly normal, but the previous owner that we had the consignment deal with passed away. And so next time we went in there were new owners. And, you know, we talked to them for a bit. They seemed cool. The people working there seemed cool anyways. We saw our books and we're like, hey, can we get our books back? You know, because you're going to redo the entire store. We could pass on the consignment, but we'd rather just have the books back. We see them right there on the shelf. Can we just take them? And they were like, no, I have to, you know, talk to some people about that. And it's like, okay, well, we'll be back. And, you know, sure enough, I think we left them our number or something, or we left a way for them to contact us. Or we contacted them or something, but yeah, no interaction ended up happening. Next time we went in there, the store was all redone. They didn't have the books, even though we, like, explicitly told them we wanted them back. I think they said that they donated them or shipped them off to another store or something stupid. And that's really annoying. Granted, it was just like, I don't know, maybe $30, $40 worth of books. That's nothing compared to $200,000 worth of Legos. But it's still annoying. It is like a little bit irritating. So I 100% believe that the whole Lego situation really happened, because I think this kind of stuff happens often, honestly, when it comes to consignment deals with stores. It just seems so easy for it to go wrong, especially if you don't really know the owners personally. Yeah, I emailed them half a dozen times. Eventually one of the owners got back to me. She pretended she never had the books and doesn't know anything about the books. Oh yeah, classic. So literally the same exact situation where it's like, what are you talking about? We don't have your stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, ridiculous. It's just, is it really too hard? It's too hard to give back the owners of their books, the books. God. Anyway. There's a reason why we don't really bother as much with getting our books in stores, and it's because of these exact types of situations. If you don't really know the owner that well, they won't really care about fucking you over. And that's the unfortunate thing, because, like, I'm for supporting small business. Yeah, go ahead, support your local comic book shops and all that jazz. But some of these people are fucking assholes. Like, some of them are genuinely just kind of, you know, sometimes the generosity and the compassion just doesn't go both ways. You can have a lot of indie creators out there that are really supportive of comic book shops and bookshops, and will spend like their money there and will have their books be sold there. But the owner of the store, the people running the store, don't care about them. And, you know, that's really irritating because you want it to go both ways, but sometimes it just doesn't. And I think that's something maybe more people should be aware of. Even disregarding this specific situation where we lost our books because, I don't know, they were just too lazy to give them back to us. We've had other situations where books have just become damaged. They weren't like properly taken care of in the store. They were tossed to the side, or, you know, whatever the fuck happened to them, they get lost. And store owners don't care. They're just not paying attention. And they're like, oh, sorry, no money for you, we lost the books. Okay, I guess I'll just believe you that you lost them and didn't sell them. Man. And then, like, Adam's dad also has, oh yeah, I talked to someone about that situation and they said, I'm not surprised, that's the kind of thing they do. Yes. That does seem to be the general gist of things. So the bricks and minifig situation, it completely makes sense to me. I think it's shocking for a lot of people watching who've never done anything on consignment, or who don't try to start any like small business thing like this where you sell stuff and you have it be sold through a store. So I'm kind of glad to some extent that people are becoming a little bit more aware of what chaos this is like. Because yeah, it's bad. We should probably be socially ostracizing some of these people who treat these I don't even know what I would call them, the entrepreneurs? No, that's not quite the right term. The small creators and people like these collectors who are trying to resell their collections, especially with Legos, because apparently Legos are really, really expensive depending on the type of stuff you have. But yeah. Apparently this stuff is just not very uncommon. And then Adam's dad also has like a soap company. He's had bad situations with trying to get soap on consignment being sold in stores as well. So it's basically like an antagonist relationship between people creating product and then the stores selling the product. I don't understand why it's like this or why this is so common. Maybe it's so common just because people are so unaware of it, because it's so rare to get sued over something like this. But yeah, I'm kind of just at the point where I've had enough of it myself. It's too exhausting. Why would I go through all this effort to try to get books in a store just for them to lose the books or damage the books or ship the books off to who knows where and not give them back to me? You might as well just sell directly to the consumer. You might as well just only sell online or sell at fairs or sell at conventions. I get it, a lot of authors and creators and, you know, these small business people who are making their own product, they want the validation of having their product in the store because it feels more legitimate when it's being sold at a place. But what does it cost, right? As sometimes it costs a lot of headache. And sometimes you're getting screwed over just for that good feeling of legitimacy. But nobody really cares. You know, it's an ego thing, I guess. Yes, I was thinking of that story. His dad sent free samples to a store to try. They put them on the shelf to sell without ever trying them, sold all the samples, yeah, and never compensated him for that. Very shady, awful business practices from some of these stores. And they deserve to be shamed for it, honestly. I like the fact that there are YouTubers now who are essentially acting as journalists. As much as that could get annoying, and it probably will get annoying, because some wannabe journalists out there don't actually understand the law and don't actually understand how to do journalism properly. I get it. However, I do like that bad people are being exposed in a way that they might not have otherwise. Like the son of the father who had like all the Legos stolen. He's made social media posts about this store before. Nobody knew about it. Nobody could really help him out until Reckless Ben started this video series and it blew up. So it is genuinely helpful when people are interested in using your social media powers for good, for justice, and for getting justice for people who were wronged, as well as spreading awareness to bad business practices and these shady people out there who want to wrong you. So, yeah, there's something to be said about that. There's something very satisfying. I much prefer getting the signed books directly from their creator. Hell yeah. Let's see, one thing that would help this is actually have people passionate about the work that they do. Like, if they were as passionate about stocking, selling, and trading the materials as you did making it, problem solved. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Some of these store owners are really bitter. They're really fucking bitter. And sometimes I get it, but sometimes I just don't, you know? If you're a store owner in a really, like, shady, shitty place, and you're constantly having your product stolen, that'll make me really bitter as well. Dealing with thieves on, like, a daily basis, and dealing with, like, shitty customers who act like they own your place, that can definitely make you very agitating, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense who you take it out on, right? So you've become this bitter person now because you have to deal with thieves and you have to deal with like people acting shitty in your store every day. But here comes by a good person who wants to do business with you, who's friendly with you, and you screw them over? You know, like, it's just misdirected bitterness. You screw them over because, what, you're mad that somebody else screwed you over? That's not very fair. Call me crazy, but I don't think that's very fair. Yeah. And then when my dad came in to ask about whether she liked them, the employee at the counter asked the owner, who was like 10 feet away. Owner rolls her eyes and tells her no, she doesn't want any. Ugh. God. Also told her to tell him soliciting a business is illegal, and she'll have to ask him to leave if he does it again. Jesus Christ. After they accepted the product and sold it in their store? That's, yeah. So they know that they did something bad, and classic move. We'll call the police if you ever come back here, because we don't want you to sue us or whatever, so we need to intimidate you right away. Yeah. Investigative journalism used to do things like this. That's true. That's true. Essentially, YouTubers are taking up the mantle of real investigative journalism. It's kind of funny how that turned out. Who would have known? Also, she wasn't confused or anything. She knew who he was and knew about the soap because the employee reminded her excitedly about how fast they sold. Great. Great. Well, not only is that extremely scummy, but that's also just stupid. If you have soap that sells very fast and, like, why wouldn't you want more? Why wouldn't you want to do business with that person? Oh, well, because you screwed them over and you don't want to, I don't know. You're too worried because you started off on a bad foot, but it's your fault that that is the case. But yeah. We need to declare war on snobby store owners. Like I said, sometimes I get it. Sometimes I do get it. Sometimes I just don't. You know, the misdirected anger that some of these store owners have towards people who've done nothing wrong to them is ridiculous. And that mentality of you need to tear other people down because it's the only way that you'll succeed. Like, who hurt you? There's so many people who approach life in that way, where they're looking for any chance they can to just, like, backstab the person next to them because they think they'll be successful if they do. So stupid. Anyway, Bricks and Minifigs is gonna run straight into the dirt. I don't think they'll ever come back from this controversy. Because it's only blowing up more and more. Especially because Reckless Ben is doing it as like a multi-part series, right? And people are following the story quite closely. Each of those videos has, I think, at least 1 million views each. Everyone wants to see how it turns out. They were threatening, or they were contacting, like, I think YouTube and then Patreon and social media accounts to, like, try to get his account removed or try to get his Patreon removed. Patreon responded directly, which was the most I've ever liked Patreon, honestly. It's the only time I've ever seen them stand up for one of their creators. Hilarious that, of all people to step in and be the hero in this situation, Patreon comes in and is like, we're keeping his channel up. Bricks and Minifigs can stuff it. I think that's actually literally what he said. That they can stuff it. It's very, very funny. Oh my god. But yeah. I get it though. I mean, people are really passionate about this whole situation. They want to see justice. So, yeah. I won $40 on being right about the Amazing Digital Circus beating He-Man at the box office. Well, congratulations. I didn't even know that He-Man was playing. I haven't seen any trailers for He-Man in a while now. Maybe it's just like the weird algorithm problems. There is a really weird thing going on with all social media algorithms, really, but YouTube especially has had some weird stuff happening. Apparently, they've gone through a recent change where they're, I guess, using AI to track other, like, AI and bots that are posting, because YouTube has a real big problem with a lot of people using bots and using this AI technology to spam content. and to scam people out of money with said content. But because YouTube traditionally, right, within the last 10 or so years has been rewarding people for posting more and more, these people who are using bots are then blowing up because they're able to post at like a superhuman amount. So in order to combat that, now they're like using some sort of detection method for detecting those channels and there's videos as being like bot posting and AI posting. And so like now there's this weird thing where if you post too much within a certain time period, your videos will start being suppressed because YouTube will just assume that you might be a bot. You know, maybe we need a human touch. Maybe we need a little bit of a human touch on YouTube. That's all I'm saying. Maybe we need better answers. I don't know. I don't have many solutions, but it feels like some of these solutions that they do have are causing other weird problems. It's hard to really keep up with how YouTube works, considering like how much it changes and shifts. What might work one week won't work the next week or next month. But yeah. Speaking of which, I have a funny story. When I got back from the Amazing Digital Circus finale movie, there were lots of cosplayers. Held hands with the girl next to me. I didn't know her. That's not funny. But yeah, red flags. Yikes. I know like some people will go to movies in cosplay for like social media purposes, like if they're trying to be influencers or something. I can't imagine someone doing that just for fun though. You have to be like really, really far in it, I guess, to just want to go to the movies in full costume. Like it's Halloween. It's a little bit silly. But yeah. Let's see what else we got. I'll take a look briefly at the reaction request channel. If we have anything. Oh, I already reacted to the Kanekawa thing. That was kind of funny though. Being like, oh man, excessive isekai genre. It's leading to a downfall. Alright, so the latest video someone posted was evil races in anime make some fans mad. What else is new? Oh, you know what? I should spend the last 10 minutes going over some channel stuff. That makes sense. So, I'm not gonna post a video next week, and I don't know if I'll be able to post a video the following week either. It's kind of up in the air. I think it might be like 2 weeks, no videos. Not because anything bad happened. We're just gonna be heading out on a little vacation with some friends. So we'll be having fun in the sun. And boy, is there gonna be a lot of sun this upcoming week. So that'll be nice. But yeah, I have some general ideas of what the next videos should be, so you'll know what to look forward to at least. I have to do Pride Month read-throughs, of course, but this month is different. It's not going to be the usual Pride Month anthologies, Because for some reason, both DC and Marvel decided to change up how they normally do their Pride Month stuff. Like, DC has a bunch of, like, random different types of comics, but I forget what Marvel was doing. But yeah, they're a little bit off. They're a little bit different from the normal anthology issues. So, I don't know. Maybe there's some changes happening in the companies and they're reeling back Pride Month stuff slowly but surely. They're retreating, right? Something like that. But yeah, I gotta... Trans Wonder Woman is a thing. They made Nia Wonder Woman. That's Dreamer, for those of you who don't know. Dreamer is this separate superhero. And they randomly decided, let's make Dreamer Wonder Woman. Okay. I'll see how that turns out. So I gotta read that comic. It's gonna be a mini-series. Maybe I should read all the issues in one go. Maybe I should read them like a couple at a time. I don't know. What's the best way to go about that? I don't know. In addition, the new Galaxy, I can't believe DCYA made a Galaxy sequel as well. Nubia sequel, and you made a Galaxy sequel. Those are like the top two. Well, those are some of the top. There's multiple that I would never make sequels of, but those were some of the top picks that were most undeserving of a sequel. I was surprised. The Nubia sequel was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. That was a shocker, right? I don't know about the Galaxy one, though. We'll see. What is it called? It's called something stupid. Like Galaxy as the World Falls Down, or something like that. God. I hope it's not very long. Nubia felt so long. But that's mostly because it was so boring. It was so boring. It was still kind of cringe, but it was boring cringe. You know? So, yeah, we'll do a read-through of that one as well. And then, besides all that, I wanted to start another, like a sequel, I guess, to the previous video, where it's reviewing manga by YouTubers. I have more manga that I'm going to be reading from different YouTubers. And I would like to do a video going over some of them and giving my thoughts. One of the things that some people were commenting on the last reviewing manga by YouTubers video was like, it was all basically like shonens. And yeah, but that's usually what I see a lot of YouTubers making. They usually tend to be shonens, or at least the ones that people talk about the most usually tend to be shonens. But I did find different manga of different genres for the next video. So, you know, we'll spice it up a little bit. Not all shonens in the next video. Got one that's like a horror, I got one that's like kind of slice of lifey, you know, mixing. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the third one yet, because I have a couple different options. But I think those two are kind of locked in, that I'm gonna be reading them for that video. Anyway, after that, another video that you can look forward to, I'm gonna do another free-run discussion video. I've decided. I have a really good idea. Got a really good idea for a great free-run discussion video that everyone will enjoy. I'm not gonna reveal what it is, though. You'll have to wait for that one. You'll have to wait very patiently for that one. But it's fantastic. Because I made a post not too long ago where I'm talking about how the Demon Poster video is, you know, one of my best performing videos on the channel, I suppose, if you don't count the memes. But how does one make a follow-up to that, right? So I was asking, should I do more videos about the whole evil racist thing? Should I do like a video about like bug posters or other demon orc poster types? Or should I do another discussion about freerun in general? For the most part, people were commenting like, oh, both is good, but that's not an answer. But yeah, so I decided to do another freerun discussion video, and then we'll see how that does. And then, I don't know, I could do a video on bug posters too, of course. I would just have to do maybe more research on that, because I want to be as informed of the Starship Trooper books as I could be, to make it like more authentic, talking about that type of stuff, making sure I get my information correctly. Freerun is somewhat easier because I'm already pretty familiar with all the material. Whereas Starship Troopers, I have some blind spots. Most of what I remember is content from the movie, and I know some content from the book too, but I get it mixed up sometimes, you know? So different. They're like so the same, but also so different. So, yeah. But you can look forward to a very fun freerun discussion video once I'm done the other videos down the line, and hopefully I'll be like prepping to reveal the project that I've been working on in the background sometime soon. But it's kind of reliant on other people as well, because it's a collaborative project, so I'm waiting on some other people. But once I have everything I need, I can launch that and talk to you guys about that, and that'll be really exciting, I think. That'll be a fun thing to do this year, right? Let's see, will Lady Buzzkill be appearing in the new Reaper comic? No, she's just something that I made for practice. I'm making some, like, independent art pieces or illustrations just for, like, a little bit of practice is kind of good in general. Just, you know, polishing up some skills. You gotta work on it somehow, right? Doing comics is, I guess, a good way to polish up some skills, because you're drawing like a lot of different things depending on the panel. But I also think because you're drawing a lot of different things on a single page, it doesn't really feel like you're moving very fast, you know? Because you do a lot of work per page, but then you only will get done like maybe 1 or 2 pages. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm not really accomplishing that much because this comic is like 30 pages long, or however long it is. So I think people also tend to get lazier when they're working on comics, or take a lot of shortcuts when they're working on comics. So for that reason, you might not actually be learning, because you're more focused on getting to the end goal, as opposed to actually, you know, taking advantage of all the different interesting things to draw and learning how to draw those various different things. It's a toss-up, you know? To some extent, comics help you learn, and on the other flip side, maybe they can make you more lazy. I certainly think that's the case with some webcomics. People are way more focused on the end goal than they are making their art better, or polishing up their art, or making an art piece look really, really good. And that's why a lot of them are using like a boatload of 3D models and repeating panels over and over again, or just word bubble, word bubble, word bubble, no art. Webtoon style. Yeah, not my favorite format for a lot of these reasons, but you get what I mean. Sometimes it can help, and sometimes it can hold you back. I think it's good to maybe try doing both, doing art pieces that you explicitly do for learning and for helping to polish up your skills, and then also doing the comic stuff, and then trying to learn through both. Anyways, that's the stream. We're done for now. It's dusty up here. My throat is getting sore from talking. So I'm gonna call it here, guys. Thank you for joining me for another fantastic Friday. I'll see you in maybe 2 weeks. Hang in there until then. Enjoy the videos that I've already have up on my channel. Hey, you can enjoy the other 800 and something videos. Oh my god, have I really posted that much? They've got to be including live streams in there, right? Because I've done like maybe a couple hundred live streams, well, maybe 180 live streams like it says in the title video, but you know, there's no way I've actually uploaded over 800 regular ass videos. That's insane. Anyway, I'm just looking at my channel. It says I've uploaded 886 videos. I don't feel like I've uploaded that much. Alright guys, thanks for hanging out on Friday with Dannphan. I hope you have a great next 2 weeks. Go have fun. Go have fun in the sun. Go get some sunlight. Get a walk in. And I'll see you guys next time. I'll keep you updated. Check my YouTube posts. My YouTube posts will have the updates in them. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Goodbye, everybody!